Now I want to talk about the dog's back. Okay. Now I want to talk about the cogito. Hey, dog. Days. All right. I want to talk about the cogito now because previously I was talking about how things are on hand. This is the beginning of the characterization of how things are when one is incorporating into their consciousness paradigm the natural attitude. The cogito that he discusses here in the 28th section of the Ideas 1. This is basically his further characterization of how things are when you are incorporating the natural attitude. And the complexes of my manifoldly changing spontaneities of consciousness then relate to this world, the world in which I find myself in, which is at the same time my surrounding world. Complexes of investigative inspecting, of explaining and conceptualizing in descriptions, of comparing and distinguishing, of collecting and counting, of presupposing and inferring, in short, of theorizing consciousness in its different forms and its different levels, likewise the multiform acts and states of emotion and of willing, liking and disliking, being glad and being sorry, desiring and shunning, hoping and fearing, deciding and acting, all of them, including the simple ego acts in which I, the spontaneous advertence and seizing, am conscious of the world as immediately present, are embraced in the one Cartesian expression cogito. Living along naturally, I live continually in this fundamental form of active, actual, living, whether while so living. I state the cogito whether I am directed reflectively to the ego and the cogitare. If I am directed to them, the new cogito is a live one that, for its part, is not reflected on, and is thus not objective for me. So he's talking about all of that, which is what he's talking about when he uses the Cartesian term cogito. This is even further characterization of the natural attitude, mostly because we're talking about all of these things. We're talking about all of them, including the simple ego acts in which I, the spontaneous advertence and seizing, am conscious of the world as immediately present and embraced by cogito. When the word cogito is used, we're talking about when you're looking at the world as immediately present, and when you're having all these thoughts surrounding them as if they are immediately present as actual beings. This is further. This is just more about the natural attitude because we're talking about how it's there, and it's not just a being. Now, furthermore, what I think is let me see if I missed anything. Oh, okay. Here he's using the arithmetical world is there for me only if and as long as I am in the arithmetical attitude. So furthermore, if we have the cogito, if we're using this natural attitude, we're talking about the immediate world. We're talking about everything here that is as actual objects. We're talking about how if we have this natural attitude, then things are going to be there because we're in that world. That's what he discusses. I always find myself as someone who is perceiving, objectivating in memory, or in fantasy, thinking, feeling, desiring, etc. I find myself actively related in these activities for the most part to the actuality continually surrounding me. For I'm not always so related. Not every cogito in which I live has its cogitatum physical things, human beings, objects, or affair complexes. So yeah, this is just kind of further discussion of that. Now, what I want to discuss beyond this cogito, he talks about other ego subjects. All that which holds for me myself, all that which holds for me myself holds, as I know, for all other human beings whom I find present in my surrounding world. Experiencing them as human beings, I understand and accept each one of them as an ego subject, just as I myself am one and is related to his natural surrounding world. But I do this in such a way that I take the surrounding world and mind objectively as one and the same world of which we all are conscious, only in different modes. Each has its place from which he sees the physical things present, and accordingly, each has different physical things' appearances. Also, for each, the fields of actual perception, actual memory, etc., are different, leaving aside the fact that intersubjectively common objects of consciousness in those fields are intended to as having different modes. This is Husserl's a little bit of his notion of intersubjectivity. So, in my natural world of looking at everything and having different cogitos as, or what's the plural? Cogitatum. If I have all those things and I'm looking and thinking about them, I'm doing all these mental operations about them as they are beings. And the same thing goes when I'm talking about other ego subjects. I recognize them as other beings like myself who have the same kind of consciousness thing going for them, but just in different modes. And this is intersubjectivity. So I'm gonna come back in a different video and discuss what Husserl is talking about when he talks about the positing of yourself into the natural attitude, and finally how you're radically altering this and changing this.